Hello everyone. I hope everyone has had a happy new year and is ready for 2023 because ready or not, it's coming. I know you guys have been wondering hey Thomas, what's been going on with the Victorian crown pigeons? Well, today's the day that you're going to find out what has been happening with these two beautiful birds. So come along with me as we go inside the aviary and sit with these birds and just talk about what's going on. Can y'all believe that it is 2023? I mean, this year has just flown by, and at one point I felt like it was in slow motion, but ever since we've moved out of the camper, it seems like everything's in fast forward. And I don't know if I particularly like that. I like to take life one day at a time and get to enjoy the slow pace of living each day to the fullest. And I feel like here lately, time has just gotten ahead of us. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we just need to take a step back and slow down a little or what, but it's just amazing to me that we're into a new year already. And as you can see, I'm back in the pigeon loft. I'm in the Victorian crown pigeon aviary, and I want to talk to you guys about what's going on with these birds. So the last video, I told you guys that I thought the birds were finished building their nest. But I was going to add a few more materials just in case they weren't finished. It's not like they have a way to get in and out of here and gather materials for themselves. So they're totally dependent on us to take care of their nest needs, which we've been doing a pretty good job of, I would say, until there were a few days there that nothing was happening, and I felt like it was complete. I should have had materials here for them because they weren't finished. In that video, I showed you guys they started using those materials, and they used all of those up in that day that I brought them to them. So Marycarl had her little friend Piper come over, and she and Piper gathered a bicycle basket full of materials and brought it in here and distributed it. Y'all, they used all of those. So I then, that same day, went and gathered another bucket, brought it in here. They used all of those. I couldn't believe it. I thought to myself, how many stories high is this nest gonna be? Because here I was thinking that they were finished, and they had added 4 more bucketfuls, for lack of other way to say it. You know, each bucket or each gather contained a different amount of materials, but we were seeing that they were still wanting to use mostly cedar. They weren't using the pine like they were in the initial build, and we did include just some bare sticks, and they weren't interested in those either. So Marycarl and I, yesterday morning, we went and the two of us gathered a 5-gallon bucket each. And this wasn't just a loosely packed bucket. It was 2 5-gallon buckets packed down full of cedar. And Marycarl added a couple of other things that they haven't been exposed to, just to see what would happen. So they picked around it a little bit yesterday, but there wasn't a whole lot of activity going on. And it just so happens that way because Jason has a way that we can live stream now with the push of a button. I mean, it's not like he has to go and we can actually live stream at any time we want to. But on days like today, where they haven't done anything but walk around the floor of the aviary, I don't know that it would be entertaining to anybody to watch unless they're building the nest. So our plan is, when we see activity going on, which we periodically check it throughout the day, we'll then hit our live stream button and add it to the live stream. It should be fairly simple to do, and I feel like you guys will so enjoy this once, well, during the nest build, of course, but our next step is the egg being laid. And what will happen then is the male and the female will take turns incubating. And I think that'll be interesting to see how long the male sits versus the female, if she even wants to share her duties with him. There's not a whole lot known about these birds in the wild. So I think most of the information that's gathered is from zoos. That being said, you know, a lot has been mentioned about giving them the materials that they use in their native environment. And they strictly gather things that are on the forest floor. These aren't like little birds that go and, you know, pull leaves off of plants, or they're not tearing bushes apart to get a limb. They're simply gathering what's already there for them. So we're pretty much duplicating what's done in the original habitat that these birds, beautiful birds, are from, but in a different scale. There's no way that we could duplicate what they have in their natural environment. So in turn, I think that they have told us what they prefer to have, and we've provided that for them. But I can't wait until, hopefully, the next step will be the egg to be laid. But I think that this live stream will be most enjoyable once this chick hatches. To see that both the mama and the daddy come and feed this baby with their crop milk that they produce is gonna be a sight to behold. And then they'll do that, and then once the chick exits the nest, they'll continue to feed it. They'll continue to feed it their own food versus the crop milk until they feel it's ample age to where it can feed itself. So we got a lot of fun ahead. I just hope everything lines up and falls into place like we hope it will. But now I want to show y'all what, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buckets of material on top of the last video of the nest looks like. You're not going to believe it. Look at this massive nest. I mean, there's not much bare space, as you can see. They used a lot of it to fill in this area right here that was not covered before. They did use a little pine right here, but most of it is the cedar. You can see this one is not strategically placed. It looks like it's fallen over the edge. I don't know if that's on purpose or if it's just a mishap, but look at how most of the stems are facing this way, whereas the greenery part is on the inside. And that would in turn make for a soft area for an egg or a chick to sit. But it goes all the way around, and I am so impressed. This nest box is built off of specifications that the owner who rehomed these beautiful birds to Marycarl gave us when she rehomed them. It was a printout, and it was what size the nest should be and the way it should be built. And that's exactly what we did. Is we went by those dimensions. We built the nest to those specifications. If I'm not mistaken, it's 2 foot by 2 foot square. It is a good 10 inches from the wall, from the post. So a lot of you guys thought that she couldn't get turned around in the nest, but that's not the case. Even though they're large birds, this nest is kind of built out some. You can see that it's coming out from the wall some, and she's got it placed more towards the front, but it's still, she has ample space to get turned around, and she built that to her specifications. See if I can't get over the top of it. And there was a pretty good indention there where I thought that she would lay the egg, but they have since kind of, I mean, not necessarily covered that up. Those are Egyptian geese. I apologize for the hissing sound. They not necessarily covered it up, but just built it up some to where that indention is raised up. But look at the bottom now. You know where it used to be, there was nothing sticking out the bottom. Now look at it. And it looks like they have used some of their feather. No, I don't know what kind of feather that is. I don't think that's theirs. To put in the kind of in the bottom of it. But it is phenomenal the way this thing is constructed. And I haven't seen the first bit of activity today with them building on it, which is kind of strange because I'll show you what's on the floor. You see the moss that we put down, that has not been used. There's a lot of cedar and pine that's been spread about. We did put a little pile of pine straw over there. None of that's been used. The grass that we put down, or the hay, I should say, that was from our property that we knew had no herbicides in it, that hasn't been used. And the feathers are still remaining. So that just goes to show you that what they want to use for their build is being picked by them. It's not just, there's a lot of sticks that are remaining. Did y'all hear that little grunt sound? That was him. There's some cedar there, and we just got it placed all over the floor so it's not in one particular place. And that's how it's been all along. So it's not like there's any change that's happened to make them not want to build. But as far as me bothering them, something that we've done from the beginning is obviously take good care of the birds. And that involves coming in every day, at least once, filling up their water. Even if it's full, we still clean out their water, and topping off their food, or in turn throwing out what's been there a day and putting new in. A lot of you may want to know what they eat, and what we use is a commercial pigeon feed. It's called Pure Grain, the Sparkling Clean Pigeon Feed. It's 100% pure grain, and it's a very, very high quality feed. It's not cheap, but we want to feed them the best thing that we have access to, and that is this. But you can see it has very little corn in it. It has some milo. It has some, I believe that's safflower. Let me see if I can't. Doesn't say. Here's the ingredients. All right, let's see. It's Canada peas, small yellow corn, red milo, safflower, maple peas, white something, whole wheat, white millet, Australian peas, oat groats, canary seed, red millet, rice, buckwheat, and hemp seed. So it's a very high quality feed that we are lucky to be able to get here in our local community at a place called Garrison's that's in Thorsby, Alabama. And then we add a little bit of, this may sound crazy, but a little bit of cat food. And I was in contact with a breeder of these birds, and he told me to do that. He told me to add a handful of cat food, and it will increase their protein and in turn help them as far as their diet. So I do just that. And no, they haven't eaten this whole bag. I fill the cat food container up that's over on our porch, and I take what's left and I bring it over here and store it in this neat little container that we have just for Victorian Crown pigeon feed. But I'm looking for egg. I'm looking every day for an egg, because I know I said it last time, but I'm really thinking that they are close to the egg stage. I think that, I mean, they haven't done anything with the nest all day today and half the day yesterday. So I'm just feeling like it may be time. Before I let you guys go, I would like to show you a project that Marycarl and I worked on, and I haven't showed you guys yet. So I think it's time for me to show you the indoor aviary that Marycarl and I built for her indoor conures, Quaker parrot, and cockatiels. So y'all come inside and I'm gonna show you what we built for those guys. Okay, I told y'all that I wanted to show you the aviary that is inside Marycarl's bedroom. The one reason that we built this is she wanted the birds from the different continents to be together. Mondu, who's a Quaker, Peanut, who's a green cheek, and Bonbon, who is a green cheek as well, are in one side of this Marycarl and Brooke custom aviary. It is 8 foot tall, 4 foot wide, and 3 foot deep. And then on this side, which is the same dimensions, 8 foot tall, 4 foot wide, and 3 foot deep, are the cockatiels. And that includes Zerk and Zen. And Zen is a little cockatiel that Marycarl hand raised. So he's very sweet. And he is a companion to Zerk, who's also a male. They get along well, and these birds do still get to come out. But this enables them to have a flying area versus when they're put up just being caged. And you can see that she cuts some pine branches and puts those on the side of their cage. Hey, Zerky! And Zerk is feeling 100%. Hey, baby! Are you feeling good? See if I can get him to nod. Zerk, do you feel good? He's not going to nod for me today. But this has been a wonderful way to keep the birds in one single area while they're not out, but still be contained. And we put this little door on so Marycarl can in turn open this to get to their food and water to fill it up versus opening the whole door if that's all she's doing. Let's see if I can go in. Hey, Zerky, come here, buddy, step up. But you can see she has all kind of toys, and Marycarl does choose to use, hey, Zen, natural materials versus, I don't know much about how to explain that except for everything is natural. This did have a sand perch on it, but she covered that in some natural rope so they wouldn't, because the sand perches are not necessarily good for their feet. So she covered that. We hung the little beaner clips on the top so we could let the toys hang down. And this is it has worked out wonderfully. She takes the plastic bottles and puts them on the side with water in it so that the birds can have plants and feel like they're in their native environment. Hey, babies. And this is, let's see if I can get a better better view of Mandu. There's Peanut. Hey, Peanut! Peanut! And there's Mandu. Oh, Peanut's going to show out. Peanut, what are you doing, big boy? Huh? I see you. And Bon Bon, it looks like somebody took a bath because they have a little water spill on the bottom. But there's Miss Bon Bon. Hey, baby. And Bon Bon's chewing on a pine cone, which is fine for birds. But this aviary has been a tremendous asset to Marycarl's room. And I can't believe we actually built it. It's just untreated 2x2s and then galvanized wire. And then what I did up here was I just bought inexpensive curtain rods from big box store. Bought blackout curtains from Amazon. And we put these all over the aviary. So when it becomes time for Marycarl to sleep, she lets all the curtains down and it tells the birds that it's time to go to sleep because they need darkness and need to know when it's time to shut down. So I just wanted to show y'all a part of this that you haven't seen and tell you that Zerk is feeling 100%. Right, Zerk? Then we can hardly see you over there, baby. But it's not built onto the wall itself. It's freestanding. So there's no holes in the wall. It's just, it imitates a cage, but on a much larger scale. And we bought a big roll of, they call it butcher paper, but it could be called craft paper. And Marycarl just wraps up the bottom material, wads it up, throws it in the garbage, and puts a new piece down every day. And that way, they always have a clean surface. And this has been here all day, so they don't make too big of a mess. But then you enjoying your pine leaf, baby? Yeah. All right. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed seeing the indoor aviary and getting an update on the Victorian crown pigeons as well. But until next time, y'all be good.